Hey everybody, welcome to Live with Pilato Creations. We are working on some fun stuff today. So my live last time I was working on a flower and then I broke it, and so I glued it, and while I was waiting for it to dry, I decided to plane up some willow boards. And so I got those over here. I just did 3 of them, and still have a bit of a mess because my dust extractor got full and I haven't cleaned up the mess yet. So here's what a couple of them look like. I've made a little glue and sawdust mixture and filled in some of the little holes. And so these guys are ready to start sanding, as is this guy over here. Well, that one's got a fair amount of sawdust and such that are sticking to it. Hey, Lawrence, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. But I've also got some more willow over here that I still need to plane. So I'll just show you some of those boards here. So I cut down this willow in my backyard. So let me put down that chunk. You can kind of see the marks from the chainsaw. I was kind of diving in, and then the cuts there, and then the other side was cut with a bandsaw, so it's a lot smoother, but still not that flat, and not a consistent width. so that definitely still needs to get planed. All right. This guy, I decided I'm not going to bother trying to run through the planer because we've got such a huge difference. And then also, cut into that with the chainsaw, both there, through here, plunge cuts there. So I'm like, this guy is probably not worth trying to plane. But then I've got this guy. And and then one of the, I don't know how unique this is to willow, but so this is the live edge, right, where the bark came off, and it's got all these little thorn-like things on it. So I have to be kind of careful as I'm handling these because I don't really want to injure myself on those. And then here's a chunk that still has the bark on it. But the bark comes off pretty easily, and kind of see left behind are those thorn-like formations. And this bark might not come off as easily. That actually wants to stay on there. What do you know? And I think I've got a couple more over here. Yeah. So the method I was using, there we go. Remove that bark. It's going to come off in the planer anyway, so I figure I might as well get it off now before it starts causing problems in there. And then you can see those thorns. Anyone know what those are called, if anything in particular, and what let's see, and then this bark, it's all but come off. It might have come off earlier and I just kind of placed it back, but yeah, you can see this one's got some pretty aggressive plunge cuts from the chainsaw. And then that's the bandsaw side. And got our thorns going on there. Okay. And so those are all the boards that I have left to plane. And these are the ones that are already planed and filled with some sawdust and glue mixture. So the question I have for you all is, after I clean up this mess, should I keep planing those boards, or should I just move on to the next step and start sanding these guys, and then the next step's after sanding? What do you guys think? Do more planing or do more sanding? Or start doing the sanding? So I'm going to make a little poll. What should I do? More planing first? Actually, what should I do? Well, I'll just say, what should I do first? Or straight to sanding the planed boards? And let's see. And okay. I'm not sure why it's not letting me start that poll. Must contain between 1 and 35 characters. Okay. Oh, do I have a? Oh, I've got too many. Got too many characters on that one. That's why. Straight to sanding planed boards. So I extracted the word "the" in order to make it so that the poll could work. Lawrence wants me to move to the next step already, huh? Don't want me to do any planing? Straight to the plane boards is at 100% so far. So I'll give the poll. Actually, I will let the poll run while I clean up, and then we'll decide after the cleanup. So let me get on some ear protection, and I think I'll just use the dust extractor to clean up, but I might need to clear out the dust extractor hose in order for the dust extractor to actually work, because I think it got kind of clogged earlier on the last live. So let's check it out. That's kind of powerful. Let's see here. Hi, stock investor. Thanks for being here. If you're going to clean up, you're going to make a newer mess. Is that what you said? Well, the idea is that the dust extractor, if it's not clogged, if I do more planing, then most of that is going to go into the dust extractor rather than all around. So I'm just trying to clean up a little bit here so I don't have all the mess, safer and all that kind of crap. I wasn't expecting, though, that when I put the, that when I let the extractor hose go straight down that I wasn't going to be able to pull it back up. So I have to be careful on that. Probably not going to do much good when it comes unplugged from the dust extractor. All right. So I think the rest of this, I will just use the shop vac for cleanup here with the floor attachment. Oh, looks like I should plug that back in. Where's the power cable? Okay. Maybe I won't use the shop vac. The power cable appears to have fallen by the wayside. Oh, it's right here. There we go. Let's see. Hey, Grindstone. Thanks for being here. Editing all evening. That happens, you know. Editing videos can take a while. that away for the moment. And take these off for the moment. And let's unplug. Oh, wow. Look at that. More planing first. I was not expecting that to take the lead. Okay. We can do that. So we'll end the poll and we'll do some more planing. All right. So let me get the dust extractor reconnected to the planer. And I'm not going to do all of those boards because that would take a while, but we'll do at least a couple. Then you get a feel for the process here. Let me reposition camera so that getting maybe a better view of the process. So we've got the planer, we've got the dust extractor, and I've got my laptop over here so I can monitor chat. We've got the sign that my wife made for me for Christmas. And, you know, pretty fun stuff. All right, so which of these boards should I do first? And the way I was planing them primarily was through skip planing. And the idea behind the skip planing is that neither of these sides are flat. And so when you plane, the planer pushes down and basically it cuts the top to conform to the bottom, right? But I don't really want either side conforming because, you know, neither side is flat. So skip planing, I run it through in one direction and then I flip it over and run it through in the opposite direction. And so it eats away at each side until eventually it should be flat on both sides and parallel to each other. So that is what we are going to endeavor to accomplish. Let me see. I'm going to try to find one that's, yeah, this one's relatively even. So obviously we've got a curvature in here, and you know, we'll see how it goes on this one. So I'm gonna have to raise the blade up a fair amount because I have to unlock it before I raise it. Okay. Right now I'm just trying to figure how far down I can go before I start to have contact. So it looks like right about there. So I'm going to lock in the blade. I'm going to get some hearing and vision protection. And hey Kevin, thanks for being here. We're going to skip plane a board or two. And so I'm going to need to plug the planer back in. All right, so dust extractor planer, let's go. going to stick it on this side for a little bit longer until I get closer to where I need to be. Really digging into that. All right, so there's the grain. There's the thickness. There's the grain on that side. And looks pretty flat. The end looks pretty flat. And measure with the calipers here. .96, 0.96, 0.95, 0.95, 0.95, 0.94. Ooh, got quite a bit of variance there. Or in other words, close enough. And I'm going to take the rest of that bark off, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. And I'm getting a fair amount of dust coming back out here, so I think my extractor might be full. Yeah, I think it is. So that didn't take long, probably because it was relatively full from all my cleanup and everything earlier. So let me check in on chat before I empty the extractor. And all right. So I'm going to put that away. I'm going to unplug some stuff here. And I'm going to go dump the extractor. You see how full that is? Huh. All right, and let's see if I can. Whoa. All right. I'm going to call that enough additional planing before we get to the next step. So, let me release that, raise this up. I'm going to vacuum this guy out. Means I need to plug the vacuum back in. Means I need to find the plug. There we go. Get him plugged back in. And put on my ear protection again. And is all unplugged. So I just noticed the other day that this has this wrap for the plug. Hadn't noticed that before. So, planer out of the way. And sweep up my extractor mess. And I will dump the extractor and be right back. Doo-doo-doo. So I like to just use this as mulch for the yard, flower beds. Figure it should be pretty good organic material for that. And I'll just put this all back together so that it is ready to go for next time. Throw him over here for now. And do a little bit more shop vac cleanup. And throw that attachment over there. I'll get that ready for my next process. I'll need the vacuum for what comes next. Let me get these other willow boards cleared out of my way. And let's reposition the camera. So this is my homemade router table. And this is my wife's yoga mat. And these are boards I want to sand. All right, let's see if you can see everything there that I'm intending for you to see. Hey, and check in on chat, see how we're doing here. You got Roy in the house. Thanks for being here. And Mike Osborne is here. Pretty good at cleaning. Send you your address. Send me your address. Sweet. I can hardly wait. I'm going to clean up over here as well. All right. So now I'll get out my trusty random orbital sander. And I think I want to start with 80 grit. I think I might have put those in a little tighter than they needed to be. Just trying to make everything fit. So I don't know if you can see my little sandpaper storage. So I've got my 80 grit on the bottom two shelves, and then 120, 180, and 220. Almost ran out of 120 the other day, so ordered some more. Now I'm lowest on 180. So since you're in the cleaning mood, yeah, send me your addresses, guys. Be right over. And I just use the Sentech Quick Connect on these vacuum hoses. So it makes it relatively quick and easy. A secure connection. All right. So I planed these three the other day, yesterday maybe. And then last night off camera, this one isn't planed that perfectly, it feels like. Or is that just because, no, that's, wow, how did I miss that it was that far off? Yeah, it's got a twist in it. So I'm going to set this aside for more planing at a later date, and we'll just focus on these two. All right, so you might be able to see these spots here off camera. I just made a little glue and sawdust mixture, packed them in to the few holes that I saw and on both sides of these boards. And so I'm going to sand those as well as the rest of the boards. This one's got a lot of kind of tear out from the planing. I don't know how visible that is on camera. Let's see if you can get a little bit better look. So all in here, especially right in here, fair amount of tear out. The rest of them are relatively smooth. My planer blades aren't perfect, and it's I don't have a what's it called, the special heads where you have lots of different helical head. I don't have a helical head for the blades in my planer. So you might be able to see that there are kind of some some cut lines, not just the grain. So, and it's definitely, I can feel it as I bring my finger across. I can feel that there's a little bit of, it's not completely even all the way. So, warming up. So you'll like weather? Yeah, actually, it's warming up in here a little bit. I might take off the hoodie. Hopefully, I'm wearing something underneath. All right, so make sure I've got enough reach here. Looks like I do. So I'll turn on the shop vac and the sander, and we'll get going on 80 grit. Gotta be careful for those thorns. All right. And glad when it warms up there. Yeah, I understand that. Good evening, Jen. Thanks for being here. And all right, so I think that's good for our 80. So I'm not sure that that 120 has very much on it anymore. Let's try this one. And that one doesn't feel like it has much either. So okay. Let's see. Evening, night, guys. Oh, you taking off, Kevin? Hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So I think we're good on 120. So I will bump up to 180. I don't know if I'm going to go any higher than 180. I might want to do a little research on whether there's any benefit on a charcuterie board from going up from 180. Part of my issue right now is that I'm not sure what I'm going to use to finish these. What do you guys think? What's the best finish for Willow being used as charcuterie boards? That's the question of the day. So what do you guys think? What finish should I use? Got several different options already here. And then, you know, I'm also open to other options that I don't have here. So let me know. All right. Let me put the sander away for the moment. I think we'll be revisiting the sander in a little bit. How goes it? It goes pretty well. Thanks for asking, Jen. Let me take those off so they don't squeeze my head so much. The mineral oil with wax mixed in. I've got some of that. Need to put it on after a while. Yeah. So before I put the finish on, though, I was thinking to cut these into more of a charcuterie board shape. Seems like a lot of the charcuterie boards have handles on them, and I was kind of wanting to save kind of this live edge a little bit. So I was thinking to just kind of sand the live edge, and then you probably just go to the bandsaw and kind of round off the corners and make like a handle. So what do you guys think? Handles, no handles? And let me just let me find something round here that I can work with. So, I mean, I'm going to need to cut off more of that anyway. I'll just go to, oh, I guess I didn't engage the brakes. And I go there. And same kind of thing over here. And over here. Um, So I'm thinking on this one that I would have the handle kind of right here so I can maintain as much of this live edge as possible. And maybe just kind of do the handle here, kind of have it branch out and then kind of curve out like that. Kind of like, probably a little bit thinner handle. Something like that. So I'd be cutting out here, cutting off along the edge here to make it a little flatter. Well, although I could, this is from the chainsaw, I think, but I could just use the belt sander to clean that up rather than, and I'd probably have to use the belt sander anyway, so maybe it's not worth cutting it on the bandsaw. On this one, my live edge is over on this side, but I've got this chunk here that's not nearly as tall as the rest of it. And I didn't want to plane it down to the thinnest part because that's pretty thin, right? I kind of like having the chunkier board there. So what do you guys think about handles, no handles? Lawrence votes for handles. And blank is nice. Oh, thanks. Spell check. Blanks are nice. Okay. All right. So you vote for handles. All right. I think I will do that then. So, but I want to make my handle a little rounded here and there. And something like that. Then I've got a small handle here. Just kind of cut out this chunk, leave the rest. And then if I want my live edge over here, see, did I? Oh, made the cuts on that side where I won't really be able to see. All right, let's do this. And I think over here, I might just want to have my handle more in the middle. And I feel like I'm wasting a lot of this board if I put a handle in here. Especially where, this is maybe not as usable. I mean, I could potentially use this part here, just kind of sand this down. So obviously it's not level with or flat like that, but I could flatten it, smooth it out, and have part of this somehow be my handle. If I cut it all the way down to here, is that going to be enough of a charcuterie board? Or do we want more charcuterie? Feel relatively good about this. I feel like maybe this is a little too wide as a handle. Maybe not. What do you guys think? Eastern Red Cedar would like to get cut into planks for the scroll saw. Don't do it. Don't do the handle on this one. Yeah, because if I just take off the corners here, just kind of that didn't show up very well. Yeah, if I just take off the corners, round those out, that gives me a pretty good chunk of charcuterie. I think I like that better. And then what do you think about getting rid of the thorns here? I don't really want to try cracking them off because I'm worried that that'll dig deeper in. I just want to take it down to kind of my live edge. So I was thinking to just use the random orbital sander. I think let's see. I was thinking about getting a foam attachment that would allow me to kind of get some contours. Don't remember if I actually bought that though. If I did, it would be in this sanding bin. At least that's where I should have put it. All right, so I've got some sanding pads that I can use by hand. I don't think I'll be able to Velcro those onto the random orbital. Yeah, I don't see something that'll work with the Velcro of the 3M Cubitron pads that I'm using, but I might use those in a little bit. Let's see, do something different for the longer one. Make the handles on top. How do you mean make the handles on top? Are you saying up here? So on this one, I'm thinking to do the handle right here and just have a short handle. And then I'm using from here all the way to the end for the charcuterie-ness. And on this one, I'm thinking not to do a handle and just use the whole thing here. Are you saying maybe do a handle over here? And so then I'm cutting out some of this. And actually, some of this I want to cut out anyway because I've got some checking, some cracks along the edge of that board. So maybe that would be a good idea anyway. Just come in here, come in more like that, and then have my handle there. And I could still cut this stuff off think I will do that. And let's see. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do there. I think I want to have more of a I'm just going to go have some fun on the bandsaw. And kind of like a drawer pull. Okay, the handle's on top like a drawer pull. Okay. Are you saying attach something to it afterwards? Or like do like a router into the edge here and have like a kind of like a cutting board on, or at least some cutting boards. Is that what you're thinking? All right, I'll let you type something about that while I get the bandsaw ready. Engage the brakes and then stick the wheels in the rut there. And I don't know if you can see on camera or not, but there we go. Got another Centec hose connection here. Oh, you know what? I might need to adjust the way I'm setting that up. Yeah, I need to, now that I've put the brakes, I need to do them this direction so that I can reach the power and actually have room to stand and make the cuts. All right. And I'm not going to need the fence, so I will remove that for now. And I can go way lower on the blade guide there. All right. Just put handles on top, no cutting. Just add some handles. And okay. Probably gonna have to move the, actually I'm I'm going to move it right now because I feel like I'm likely going to be bumping into the camera. So, all right, I'll start with this guy. And all right. And let me get my hearing protection on. Still have my vision protection. Yeah, so that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just use some of my offcuts here to make handles to put on the end of the other one. But I do feel relatively good about the plan here. So, all right, let's do it. Vacuum and then power to the bandsaw. All right, what do you guys think of that? So I can clean up this all the way around here on the belt sander. I'm going to clean this up with the random orbital. Might have to do it just by hand. This I might have to do mostly by hand as well, just because of the angle there. I don't like how pointy that is, so I'll just clean that up on the sander. So, one down. And like a serving tray, cool. All right, thank you. Let's move on to the next one. So, I'm going to ignore most of these lines, and I'm just going to cut out here and here, and then we'll do something different with the rest of it. So, let's give you the angle over here. Kind of next to me, I think. Let's see how that does. All right. Let's start with this. Because this is a thicker board, I need to raise my blaze guard a little. Use the other side here so that I'm not having to use the thorny end. All right. Here we go. Hi, let's see, Onurko. I am making charcuterie boards. So similar to cutting boards, but not intended to do any cutting on it, just like serving. So okay. So I'm not sure how well I like that completely asymmetrical look. Um, hmm. So I just cleaned it up on the belt sander again. Nice. Hey, thanks. All right, so I'm going to disconnect the bandsaw here. Disengage the brakes, if I can find them. And one more. It slipped on me. There we go. All right. Cord out of the way. And get the bandsaw out of the way. And this scrap off the floor and piled somewhere else, just as problematic. All right, so now I've got this stuff to work with. Oh, there's some more scrap from the thinner board. And let me get my belt sander out. The belt sander doesn't have a permanent home yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about a permanent home for the belt sander. I do want a permanent home for my planer and jointer. Been planning to make a cart for those quite some time, so I'd have the dust extractor down below and have everything else in place. All right, so give you a view over there, and I'm going to test out my new toy. I got this sanding belt cleaner. So let's see how well it does. I just picked this up at Harbor Freight when it was on special, because everything goes on special at Harbor Freight, so I never pay full retail price there. Hey, Lawrence, thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate it. All right, and I've got a dust port over on this far side, so I'm going to get the adapter from the bandsaw, shove that in there, and then connect my hose. As we have with most everything else. I was actually really surprised at how well the dust collection works on this. I was expecting, well, I should probably wait to say that until after we've had some success with it today, but all right. So I'm going to turn on our vacuum, turn on our disc sander or belt sander, and try and clean off my belt, see if it brings new life. Looked pretty good to me. All right, let's give it a run. give it a try. I think I'll start with this crazy guy. So, I'm not sure if I can. You'll have enough. Yeah, that'll probably work. Let's try it. I like that shape a little better than what I originally cut out. And I'm not a big fan of the checking right in here. I feel like maybe I should have just cut it off here anyway, just to get rid of these little cracks right in there. Because that's not going to be good for trying to keep food safe and all of that. You could get like bacteria or whatever into there. So I think I am just going to cut that off. So just trying to feel over here for how far in those cracks go. I think that should be enough. So back to the bandsaw. All right, so I'm going to disconnect our vacuum from here, bring it back over to the bandsaw, and then I need to, I already got the power. All right, and disconnected this power. All right. So there we go. So I'm just going to cut right there. All right, so yeah, so that gets rid of pretty much all of our cracking. Looks like there's a little bit more here and here that we'll just take care of on the belt sander. All right, there we go. That should work for the most part. Now I guess I need to clean that up a little. Let's see if I can do that on the belt sander here. All right, that should work. And am I stupid for trying to retain this live edge? Not going to be a lot of it left now. But all right, let me start on the other here. And we've got chainsaw marks there to sand out. See what we can do on this. All right, so I can't really get this inside part. I mean, I can try if I do it from the side here to an extent, but well, let me try that. All right, that actually worked a lot better than I was anticipating because I didn't really think about using this part of the belt for the curvature. So I was able to get that a lot better than what I was expecting to. So I still need to do something about these edges, these live edges. So let me see, what does it look like if I just use an 80 grit by hand with one of these guys? How hard is that going to be to get some movement? I'll just use the same 80 grit paper that I was using with the random orbital. Yeah, that's not too terrible. do you guys think? Should I keep the live edge? Like right in here is going to be. Let's do this. I don't know if this really qualifies as live edge anymore. But I kind of like the look and feel, other than the void there. But you know what? Maybe I just fill that with some sawdust and glue mixture. And call it good. What do you guys think? Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for being here. And Random, hey, thanks for being here, dude. Let's see here. Use the end of the belt. Oh, yeah. Should have looked at your comment earlier, Jeremy. And keep it. Love live edge. What are you getting for the handle? I don't know. I hadn't really thought to do anything special for it. I mean, this is kind of the handle for this one. Maybe you're talking about the other one. So I've got this other guy. So I've got the live edge there that's a little thorny. Right. So need to definitely do some sanding on that. Got a suggestion earlier to just attach some handles to it on the top. So I might do something like that, but not exactly sure what I'm going to do on this one yet. So some cool coloration there. Any ideas? Should I do something different with this handle? I feel like this handle is not substantial enough, but I don't really want to cut into this more. I want to preserve the size and shape. And I think rather than try to sand all of that out, I'm just going to stuff it with some glue and sawdust. Luckily, I happen to have a little bit of sawdust here. So let's just do that right now. I'm going to unplug my belt sander for a moment. Might be back to it in a little bit. I'll use some Type Bond 3. And usually I mix up a little mixture, but I think I'm just going to throw some. Actually, let me see if I can get in more. All right. I'm just going to throw some glue in there. And then pack it with sawdust. And for some reason, I feel like I have a lot less sawdust now than I thought I did a minute ago. Where'd all my sawdust go? That is not working nearly as well as I'd hoped. Let's make some more sawdust. So I'm just going to kind of sand a chamfer, not really a chamfer, but just kind of a round over, I guess. So I don't have sharp edges on either side here. I also want to kind of smooth out areas where the belt sander left a more abrupt edge. All right. Now put a little bit more glue and a little bit more sawdust. All right. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And then probably come back and sand it some more. I never let it dry long enough. So hopefully I let it dry long enough this time. And let me check in on chat because I feel like I've been ignoring you guys for a while. Okay. 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 And all looks nice. Hello, chat. Yep. Got here's that maple. No, actually, Jeremy, this is willow. So I cut a willow tree down in my backyard, and I've got a few different slabs there, some chunks there. Actually, I have a bunch more chunks that I was planning to turn on the lathe when I finally get my lathe going. And then I've got a bunch that I just have in the fire pit pile as well. But I could use for something later. But I do actually have a bunch of maple too. So this is some maple that I got from someone who cut down a maple tree. So I salvaged it, took it over to a friend who has a higher resaw capacity on his bandsaw. So we cut it into 6/4 slabs, and then I dried it in my homemade kiln. So yeah, I have some maple available, but I think I might use the maple I might make some cutting boards or something with the maple. Whereas for the willow, I don't think it could stand up to cutting board usage. So that's why, at least part of the reason why I was going with charcuterie board on these guys. So let's see. Both, yeah, willow, finger grooves, yeah. Cut a little hole in between your handle. I'm saying put a hole right here. Is that what you mean, Jeremy? Put a little hole in between. Don't bow it everywhere this time. What do you mean don't bow it everywhere? Had a hard time getting it to look right if I add glue and dust. What's your trick? Oh, I don't know that I get it to look right, but that's the trick that I used on filling holes here. So I think here and there, maybe there and here. I'm not sure. And then filled some holes on this one too. Here for sure. And then I think there was another bigger spot on the back side. Yeah, I think there's a few little spots here that I filled with the glue but definitely there. So that's kind of the method that I use to fill on the board itself. Just put a little glue in and then pack it with sawdust. I didn't have nearly as much sawdust here as I was thinking I did. So I like to pile on the sawdust and then kind of tap, tap, tap. This time when I tapped, I got glue on my fingers. Usually I like to have enough sawdust there that I can tap, 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 and it doesn't get on my fingers. And then after I've tapped it in as much as I can, I'll just, brush it away. And then if it needs more sawdust, I'll just add a little bit more glue and then, put some more sawdust, same kind of process. But it definitely, I don't know that this is any better method than what you use, because like on my, then these were pretty small holes that I was filling, but like I can tell that there's some sawdust that I filled in there and in there. I think probably in there as well, and then for sure right here. I don't think there. And I've got this other board over here that I realized wasn't flat. So I need to do some more leveling, but I did fill gaps with the sawdust glue mixture. So I've got a spot there and up here. And, this was a pretty big spot. You can kind of see from the end that kind of goes somewhat deep. And so just kind of fill that and tap it down, and same kind of deal on this side. So that's kind of the methodology, and then obviously just sand it off. So, but I'm not ready to sand this one because I need to do a little bit more work on planing it, because it's not as flat as I thought it was. So anyway. Okay, nice. Not me. Yeah, it was me. That's where your sawdust went. Yeah, figures random. Jeez. I just didn't add finger grooves. Wouldn't cut it anymore. That's just me. Are you talking about the? Are you talking about this guy? That you'd add finger grooves, and are you thinking just add them on the edge here? Or I could, like whichever side I decide is the top, I could just route out, a little cove, use like a cove bit on the bottom. So then it's, rather than like sticking the fingers in, you just have that whole groove extracted to be able to pick it up from the sides. Maybe that's what you were saying in the first place. I could do something like that. What do you guys think about that? Way better than the way I do it. Oh, sweet. Thanks. Appreciate you saying so, Jeremy, even if it's not true. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry a little longer. It feels dry, but it's definitely not cured yet. Part of the problem, though, from just scooping up the sawdust, I think I got some non-sawdust residue. And so you can see I've done like burning and stuff on here. So I see some black specks in there, which could be good, could be bad, right? So it might give it a little bit of variety, but it also, on some of the stuff that I've done, it's kind of given a speckled look that wasn't really what I was going for. But part of that was because I was using less sawdust and more like sawdust and saw chip, wood chip or wood shred, rather than just the sawdust. So anyway, all right. So I don't know why I just used the 80 grit on the part that I'd already sanded to 180. That was not wise of me, but don't think it did much, so I'm not going to worry about it. Unless I see something to worry about. Yeah, I'll be fine. All right. So you think putting a hole here would be good? That would make it easier to hang. Are you thinking just a little hole that it could hang on something, or like something longer like that? What are you thinking? I'd be open to doing something like that. I think I'd probably just use a Forstner bit on one end and on the other end if I were doing something like that, and maybe just Forstner bit out the middle, and then chisel and sand to clean it up. The other alternative, I could get out my scroll saw, but I don't really want to do that. Don't you really use that too much? Or I could use the jigsaw and connect them. If you're thinking it would look better to have a wider area that's vacant there, a bigger hole. Let me know what you're thinking there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set this one aside for the moment, let that glue dry, and I'm going to try attacking these thorn-like formations on the live edge of this board. That's going to take a bit to sand those off. I think I'm going to get my chisels. So, random, you might like these. I've got some marples. These are not the Irwin marples. These are the made in Sheffield, England marples. You can see that, hand forged. So I'm gonna set that there and use a 5/8 inch here. Actually, I'm gonna clamp this guy down to my workbench before I start banging away with the chisel. And I'll get out my little homemade mallet. This is actually just cedar, which is not a hardwood. And then I just have some oak laminated on, which is a hardwood. So let's just go. All right. And let's see if, can you guys even see what I'm doing there? Jeremy, are you saying you're jealous of the Marples chisels? If so, then you might be even more jealous when I tell you what I paid for them, because it was very little. I went. I saw them on. Let's see, was it? I can't remember, because I bought them from this lady that I saw something listed on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm trying to remember if she had the chisels listed or if she had something else listed, because I bought what she had listed, and I also bought something else that she had. Just trying to remember what the other item was besides the chisels that I bought there. Oh, you know what? It was this hand plane, this block plane, little Stanley block plane. So I think I paid $20 for this set of chisels and $10 for the block plane. I don't really use the planes all that much. I got that plane. Actually, I got this old plane. Let me see if I can find it easily. And I'm not going to worry about it, actually. I got this old plane that was at my mom's that apparently my dad had bought who knows how many years ago. It looked pretty old, and it wasn't a very good plane, which makes sense because my dad was pretty cheap, and so was his son. Well, all of his sons. Because there are 4 sons, and my parents actually had 5 daughters and then 4 sons. So I'm the 2nd son and the 7th overall. How many siblings do you guys have? Okay. All right. Yeah, I think whatever those are, those little thorns popping up, they seem like they're a lot harder than the surrounding wood. So it's not sanding away nearly as easily as the rest. I'm actually going to reposition my... So I got some better sandpaper to use on that thin part here. Yeah, so tell me where you guys are from. Random, I know you're from the UK. Jeremy, where are you from, man? Also, check out Random's channel. He's got some pretty cool stuff that he builds there. So be sure to check out Random Builds and Rebuilds. Let's see. Let me back up here, catch up on chat. Better than the way I do. Okay, yeah. Sounds like a good idea. Thanks. Late Night Live. Hi, Kimber. How you doing? Thanks for being here. Let's see, that'd be great too. Just in a shallow groove, just to break up the flat feel and hold it. Okay, gotcha. A heart. Look like nice chisels. Yeah. So yeah, I've been told that the marbles are pretty good quality. I mean, they're owned by Irwin, right? And so my understanding is that they are not as high quality now as what they used to be when they were just straight up marbles. But they're also relatively inexpensive, compared to like Narex and then the really high end stuff, the really expensive stuff. Let's see, do tell. Lucky, yep. Either have 8. Oh, Jeremy, you're in Idaho? Dude, so am I. What part of Idaho are you in? And why are you up so late? See, for Random, being in the UK, it's not late for him at all. Okay, and I think I'm going to use my little glue trick over here as well. But do I have enough sawdust? I think I'm going to need more. So I'm going to break the edges here, just do a slight sanded round over all the way around. And hopefully that gives me enough sawdust to appropriately fill the holes over here that I'm having difficulty sanding down. All right, now I need to check and see if Jeremy said what part of Idaho he's in. 7:55 a.m. Yep. We make a lot of products out of Tennessee aromatic cedar and wormy maple. Sweet. Up by Idaho City. Oh, okay. A little bit more rural then. I'm in Meridian, which is right next to the capital city of Boise, where I was born. Jeremy, are you from the Idaho City area? There's not a lot of people from there. It's not a very big place. It's pretty though, although kind of cold and snowy up this time of year. I say Idaho City is not a very big place, but a lot of people would say that Boise and Meridian are not very big either. So. And they'd be right, because even though Boise and Meridian are a lot bigger than Idaho City, they are still not particularly big. When compared to a lot of the other cities out there. All right, so got a little bit more sawdust to work with. And as I was thinking about this, I was talking about the black specks in my sawdust. I don't think it's from the burn marks. I think it's actually green little pieces of the sandpaper that are breaking off. So not actually black, but green. So with a little luck, little bits of the sandpaper are going to live on in this workpiece forever. Yeah. Yay. You're a furry, type this emoji. Well, I am not a furry, but not really what this channel is about, Homer. But you're welcome to stick around and find out what the channel is about. You were heading to bed when you saw the channel. Well, I appreciate you sticking around. Sleep is so overrated. Lived here for 7 years. Cool. Grew up in Colorado, college in Washington, moved to Alaska. Oh, you've been all over. Way too big for me. Can't stand the circus of cities. Yeah. Love the look of Alaska. Love to go there. You got a bottom here? Yeah. I think if Omer doesn't behave, then we'll have to time him out. But I'm not too worried about him right now. So, all right, let's. Oh, I didn't close up the glue earlier, so hopefully it's not all dried out. So I'm just gonna stuff some glue right in here and in here. Close it. And then I'm just going to pile my sawdust on top of the glue. And then I want to kind of gently tap it in. I don't want the glue coming through. Okay. All right. And then I'll just let that dry for a bit. I wonder if this one's dried enough yet. Well, whether it has or hasn't. I'm just going to start off lightly sanding. So I'm not really applying any pressure here. I'm just kind of letting the weight of the little sandpaper mouse thing kind of clean off the very top layers. I'm applying a little bit more pressure now. And I'm mostly fine with that. I'd like a little bit more removed on this. I don't know that I'm going to get any better on that part. Okay, I'm going to call that good enough. Okay. And what do you think? Do I need to put any hole or any cut through here? What do you guys think? And then, which side do you think is more worthy of being the top? This one or this one? And then I think I'll see if I have a cove bit and just kind of take out, like half of this material down here and half of the material down here. Just have, basically a little finger lifts there. What do you guys think? Side A, side B. Which should be the top? Uh-oh. Got a call coming through from the missus. So let me go in the house for a little bit while you tell me which you prefer, side A or side B. And I will find out from her what she needs from me, which might be to stop the live and stop making noise. So let's see what she needs. I'm going to mute for a minute, but I'll be back shortly, probably. All right, I am on my way back into the shop. And let's see. Need to remind myself where I was at in the shop. What I was thinking to do next. Oh, you guys are going to tell me which side you think is better. Side A, or was it side 1? I don't remember. Or side B/2. Let's see. Check out the chat here. Okay, so wife's family lives in Ketchikan, Alaska. Amazing. Forward to seeing more of your channel. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. Got to go to bed now. Great work. Oh, thanks. Other side, side B. The second side, really? Interesting. So you like this side better, huh? How well can you see it? That. And there's that. I think maybe this figure is not coming through because like down in here looks pretty cool to me, but it might just look kind of blotchy on camera. Maybe that's the issue. Yeah, I don't know that it's really coming through as well as what I'd like. Whereas here, it's a little bit more boring. And, it's got this mark here that I know is from, wood filler. So I guess I'm going to overrule you. Sorry. I'm gonna treat side A as the top, because even though it might not look it on camera, I think it's the better side. There's some cool coloration over here and a little bit over here, but I think this is kind of cooler than anything on the opposite side. So, all right, let me see what I've got for router bits. I've even got the type of bit that I was thinking of. Okay. Not really in there, but I've got some other router bit sets that I've picked up along the way. And where are they hiding? Oh, there's the box. Or one of the boxes, anyway. Let's see what this one has. Let's see. I'm not seeing Cove bit in there. Let's see if I've got any other router bits that might work for what my intended purpose. Let's see. Oh, there's a Cove bit. Nice. So these two router bit sets I bought from this guy Facebook Marketplace. He was actually the one that I bought the planer from. Got the planer, the jointer, the dust extractor, router bits, clamps, and I paid him exactly what he asked, and I still felt like I was ripping him off. All right, so I'm going to use that Cove bit. And I will throw it in one of the router tables. Let's see if I can. Sometimes they put these things in so tightly. Like, why do you make it so difficult to extract something that has really sharp blades on it? I don't like that. So, all right, I think I'm going to pull out, let's see, should I use, I'll just use this router table over here. The same one that I used for sanding on. We'll remove the yoga mat. And so this is obviously a bit of a homemade router table. See if I can extract the router without having to look. And I think the answer is no, I can't. There we go. All right, so I just have a little, well, it's not that little, but this Bosch 1617 EVS, I believe, is the router. All right. It's a 1/2 inch collet, so I have to use collet reducer in order to use 1/4 inch router bits in it, which is what this cove bit is. All right, and I'll tighten that by hand first. And then I've been told that you don't have to tighten it super hard. So hopefully that's good enough. Okay. Why can't I get it in there? So on these Bosch, you're supposed to twist it on, and I feel like I'm twisting in the wrong place here. It doesn't feel like it's, oh, there we go. That is not working right. Why not? Okay, there's a little piece that's supposed to clip in that was not clipping in. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can raise this up enough, or nope, I need it to clip higher. For some reason, the spring on this thing seems to be non-functional. I might be using the other router table, unless I can figure this out very quickly. World. All right. I'm using the other router table. I'm going to lower that down. I'm going to get my yoga mat back out, or my wife's yoga mat. And get this router table. With homemade fence. Okay. Looks better closer. Oh, good. And okay. All right, so now I need to take this guy out and put, whoa, that is not supported. Oh, of course I need to get the bit out of the other router. So that was brilliant of me. So I'm gonna put this up here so it's hopefully less likely to fall on my head. Let's see if I can get this to release. Ah, there we go. Well, oh, there, I got it to go into place. So let's actually just use the other router table. And I'll throw this guy back in there. Okay. So put him away. And get this out of the way. So hopefully now you can see the cove bit there. And now I need to get the homemade fence out. And the fence is a big part of why I made this thing in the first place, because I already had that other router table that I was just showing you, but the dust collection on it sucked. So I made this guy so that I could easily catch dust collection. And all that suction comes through this little hole here. And let's see if I can get the camera positioned properly. All right, there we go. All right, and then let's see if I can lower this guy. Actually, I think I want to raise him up a little more. Okay, that should be enough. So basically, I'm just going to cut a little cove into this side and this side. And my fence is going to go right there to be in line with my bearing, and that should give me a little bit more control by having a fence there versus not having a fence. So I'm just going to use some clamps. Actually, I'm not going to use these clamps because those do not hold as well as the F-style clamps. So you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to be putting that much pressure on this thing. So all right. Okay, so how much of this do I want to cut into? I feel like I should have similarly sized handles. But it's a little odd because, you know, it's not a uniform shape. So I think this should be pretty much the length of it. And then over here, if I went from there to there, that should be pretty good. All right, so I'm just going to mark where I want to start and stop. I think here and here. And on this side, I think here and here. So certainly not exact, but probably good enough for what I'm doing today. All right. And need some power. I'll plug the router in. Need some ear protection. And I'll turn on the vacuum, and then I'll turn on the router, and then we will cut away. So let me check on chat before I get going on that. Side B. everybody likes side B except me. All right. I'll put a few brass pin sockets in my router tabletop to have something to pivot around. Interesting. Yeah, it is nice to have something that you can use to pivot on. So that's basically why I've got the fence. I mean, the fence is also going to help me, just maintain, so I'm not, getting too crazy. The bearing should make it so it's not going deeper than I want it to go, but the fence will make it so that I'm not, so I'm sticking to where I want it to be. So, all right, let me get my hearing protection on, then I'll turn on the vacuum and turn on the router, and we'll start cutting. All right, so that's what I was afraid of. I think I'm trying to take off too much at once. And so it's fighting me. And so I think I will take off more so that, so as to cover up my error here. But I think what I'm going to do is slide this forward a bit. And instead of coming into it, I'm going to slide it over, which means I'm going to remove more material. I'm not that I'll be removing more material so much as that I'll be removing from a wider swath. So I'll just take off this whole area here. So I'll just come across like here. Remove that. Come across here. Remove that. And then I'll move the fence back. Hopefully this works better. Let's find out. All right, so that worked better. I went a little slow on here, and I've got the bit a little too high, so you can see that it's, kind of curved here. So I've got a bit of a lip on the bottom that I'm not supposed to have, but I'm not going to worry about it. I can just sand that off later. It's just, really thin material there. So, all right. So I'll scoot the fence back now. So the idea is that I'm doing it in 2 passes. So I'm not having to remove as much material per pass. So it makes it a little easier on the router. Okay. Yeah, ouch. Amen, random. Sometimes. See, and I was thinking it might be too much to take in 1 pass before I started going. I was like, it'll probably be fine. It's not that big of a bit. But then I was also coming into it like that. And, the bit is spinning this way. And so as you move it here, it comes around and carves it out. But if I come from over here, right, it's spinning here. It wants to kick the workpiece out. So anyway, let's see if this does a little better than last time. All right, so got a little bit of a lip there. Got a little bit of a lip there. But it's definitely not as deep as I was kind of wanting that to go. I need a bigger cove bit to do it as deep as I was wanting, but that's probably going to be fine. Router is unplugged. Oh, and I should have locked in the brakes before I started working on that. Been nice watching. Gotta pop to shops. Gonna have to go. Hey, thanks for being here, Brandon. Appreciate it. Looks good. Hey, somewhat. Somewhat big. Looks somewhat good. Just sand off that that lip. And here's, where I gouged it on that first pass. So I'm hoping I can just kind of sand enough to where that's not very noticeable. Kind of blend it in. Okay, so that's a little less noticeable now, but since that will be the grippy part, I'm going to make it relatively smooth. Be nice to get rid of some of those burn marks. On the other hand, maybe the burn marks give it a little more character. Not as substantial as I was hoping, but it's something. And you just sand off those pencil marks. And actually, I should also sand these edges to a higher grit. I've just been doing 80. I'm just going to do a quick pass with 120 right now. And then with And then with 180 when I'm done with the 120. Okay. All right. And we'll do some, whoa. Try not to get the tripod and camera. All right. Some 180 here. Okay. And the other piece. Use my eraser here on the pencil marks. All right, I'm gonna vacuum these off. All right. And all right, now, ooh, over here. And get some stands here. So this is an oil and wax mixture. Let's see how it looks. Uh, All right, what do you guys think? This will require more coats of the oil and wax, but yeah, I think overall doesn't look too shabby, right? You will see all of it there. See here. Good. Sandy will be all right. Be able to get back in the shop. Yeah, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, just a wee bit of cold. Amen, brother. All right. Well, I think these are pretty much done. I'll need to put more coats of oil and wax on them after this coat gets absorbed, but that'll be in a while. So I will just say thank you, everyone, for being here today. I appreciate it. This is Pilato Creations. Be sure you subscribe and like and all the stuff. And we will catch you next time. Thanks for being here.